In 2024, gaming peripherals are getting very expensive. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Astro A10 versus the Astro A50x. A budget headset versus one that's priced at £350, or to see if you can afford to cheap out on your gaming setup every now and again. Astro Gaming headsets have become highly acclaimed over the years due to their presence in FPS games such as Call of Duty and Halo. They tend to have great microphone quality and good surround sound, but my personal favourite features is actually how they look. I mean, just look at both of these products, they're absolutely beautiful, whether you're cheaping out or you're getting the more expensive ones. Not to mention, these things are so comfy, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. But one true reason Astro have always been popular is their ability to switch from PC to console, or even use both at the exact same time, which many other headset companies just don't have to offer yet. If you watch till the end of the video, we've actually got discounts for both of these products, as well as anything else that's created by Logitech. Although it's worth noting, this video is not sponsored, and we are not paid to say anything nice about these products, so we're going to be completely unbiased. So let's take a look at the headsets. Straight out of the box, it is visibly obvious that the A50x is the favoured child. As you can see between the two of them, the box is much bigger, probably based on the price point, because how dare you go budget and buy our cheaper version? Please spend more money. So it comes with a standard aux cable that you can plug straight into your controller, or the PC splitter to obviously plug it straight into the back of your PC. About what you'd expect from a £50 headset, nothing outstanding, nothing above and beyond, but definitely not terrible by any means. Just simple, headset, cable, plug and play, you're done. Now, the A50X obviously comes with a ton more. You've got the wireless charging base station, you've got a couple of cables for PS5 and Xbox, as well as your PC cable, and a USB-C, which sadly only works for charging the headset on its own and not actually as wired function, which is pretty upsetting, but what can you do? Both headsets come with a kind of volume slider. The A10's is just on its wire, and the A50X is actually a button that's accessible on the side of the headset. But the difference is the A50X's volume slider actually acts as a slider that's more of like a mixer. If you go up, it goes towards game sound, and if you go down, it goes towards voice sound. So if your teammates in Discord are being loud and shouting about some random stuff and you need to lock into your Valorant game, just turn it straight up to game and you're not going to hear them anymore. With the A10, however, it's literally just a base volume slider for Windows. I'm probably never going to use that feature. You guys might, if you're watching this and that's something you want to do. I've never used these volume sliders on any headset I've ever owned. However, what is great about the A10s for a price point is the comfort. They feature memory foam ear cups and head cushions, which for £50 you really can't complain about. It is incredible value for money to get something that's memory foam and that comfortable in such a small, cheap package essentially, as well as the mic being able to move up and down, which is great for getting it out of your way if you're not going to be using it a whole lot, or if at all. And the headset's adjustability is just like any of the other Astros and the exact same as the A50X's. So obviously I said it's made out of memory foam, which has got to be great for long hours of gaming, right? Well, we'll come back to that later. The A50X's, however, wow, these just look stunning, and they are very, very comfortable. In my opinion, Astro, but more specifically the A50X's, are the best looking gaming headset on the market, especially with the colorways they've got to offer. They are absolutely beautiful. Comfort-wise, I feel like I could wear these things all day long. The material is really flexible, and they come with rotational ear cups if you're getting a little bit tired and you just want to rest your headset, maybe scroll on your phone for a little bit. That's easy enough to do. The material in both products is also really sturdy, so unless you're out here trying to snap it over your knee, you're pretty comfortable when it comes to raging. Not that I've tested it, and I would not recommend testing it, let me make that clear. Don't try going to break your products. Now, one thing I did notice out of the gate which annoyed me was that A50X does not come with a removable mic. I had a pair of Astro A40s years and years ago, which were a wired equivalent to this essentially, and they had a removable mic on a wired, cheaper version of this headset. So it makes no sense to me why, about 7 years later, when they've brought out many new generations of them and many, many more expensive versions of it, why they've kind of taken that little feature away, which doesn't exactly do any harm. What is the harm in being able to just unclip the mic? I'm unsure. As much as it's a small feature and it's probably not going to affect anyone, and you can just move it out of the way really easily, for £350, I want every feature I can think of ticked. That is a very, very expensive price point to be setting something if you're not going to have something as minimal as just being able to take the mic out. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad product, because the sound design, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. But ladies and gentlemen, let me not forget one of the most important parts of any headset review, the mics. What you're listening to right now is obviously the Astro A10 mic, which is a budget headset in this video. I'm currently sat in a very big and open room with a lot of echoing and sound bouncing off the walls, and I think the headset does a pretty good job of cutting all of that out. This is obviously nothing spectacular or over the top, but we've got to remember, it is a headset mic. If you sat in an Xbox or PlayStation party or even Discord with your friends, this will definitely do the job. But if I wanted to be that annoying person at a party and play a YouTube video or TikToks down the mic, here's what it's going to sound like. Something along these lines. You can probably hear it a little bit more while I'm speaking. It's also worth noting I'm speaking at a very much room level. I'm not shouting, I'm not raging, and I'm definitely not whispering. But if I was, this is a level of ASMR you'd get. I know. very sexy. So let's compare that to the Astro A50x mic, which is a more premium version, which sounds like this. Now off the rip you can tell an instant increase in quality, which is fantastic and exactly what we expected. There's a little less background noise. My biggest pet peeve from the last headset, but again, you expect that with the budget. And a lot of it won't be in the video, but you can hear every single breath between me speaking and going to speak, and it's just really jarring. I will say the mic on this headset has a little bit more flexibility, a little bit more length to it, so you can kind of move it out of the way just a tiny bit easier. Nothing majorly noticeable unless you've got them side by side like I do, but this is what the A50x mic sounds like. So with the A10, my initial thought as soon as I put it on was, ooh, to be honest, these are actually really comfortable for £50. It has been a while since I've used a headset around this price range, but I'm comparing it to like headsets at like £100, £150. This might top some of those. It's fine at first because they're pretty comfortable, the headband's great, the adjustability is just fine. It's nothing to do with the size of a massive head. I can't lie, even after just a couple of minutes, the ear cups feel pretty small. I feel like after a couple of hours, this is gonna get pretty painful. But after around 30 minutes of playing games, they just felt way too tight around my ears. So unless you're a 10-year-old or somebody that maybe plays games for an hour or so a week, I'm not too sure how you're gonna feel using this thing for long hours every single day, especially if you work on your PC, listening to music or whatever it might be. It really starts to get irritating and wear your ears down, but the A50x, however, I feel like I could wear this thing all day. I could go on a hike, make a coffee, go to the toilet, walk around with it on my phone, and it's wireless. Obviously the Bluetooth connection straight to your phone is perfect. Don't think I could see anyone going for a run with it on, but you never know, to each their own. This is probably the comfiest headset I've ever worn, and for the last 6 months I've been using the Dynamic DT990s, which is supposedly one of the comfiest headsets out there. I think this thing might top it. For the price range you should probably expect so, but I'm actually really shocked. Astro have blown me out of the park with this one. It is absolutely amazing. Bear in mind, because I'm a content creator and spend off my day editing, I'm sat there for like 6+ hours wearing a headset, just sat doing productivity work, and this thing might just be a little bit better for that. The sound quality, on the other hand, this is where things get really interesting. My initial tests on both of these headsets were done on Warzone or COD, which is where this headset is supposed to thrive. A game that Astro really got their name from back in the day, so it had to be good, right? On both headsets. As a fun little fact, on the A10s at the very least, I'm not 100% sure on the A50Xs, but the bass frequencies that are built into the headset are actually lined up perfectly with CODs. So where the bass has a bit of a hump, it's kind of where the footsteps come in, and it has a little bit of a dip off where the ambient sound such as airstrikes, jets flying by in the map. When you enable the surround sound through Windows Sonic, which is built into every Windows PC out there, this thing for under £100 is seriously impressive. Comparing it to some from other brands which I've used that are priced at around £150, this thing actually even tanks them. I was seriously impressed with how good the audio quality was just for something that comes with essentially a wire and a PC splitter. There's no drivers, there's no software, there's nothing fancy that's out there. It's literally just a wire and a volume scroller, which I'm never going to use. Now, the 3D sound wasn't great. You could never really pinpoint exactly whether people were through walls or how distant they were, but the surround sound capability for a headset at this price is definitely nothing to complain about at all. However, in other games such as Counter-Strike and Overwatch, which I tested it on, they just weren't really as good. Certain things in CS were just a little bit meh. They weren't necessarily bad, but they also weren't outstanding like they were on COD. For example, I was playing a deathmatch and I can never really tell whether people's footsteps were right to my right, getting closer up to me, or whether they were actually through another building. It was really difficult to tell because everything sort of had like a dampened feel to it. I threw 5 or 6 gunshots going off around me and I couldn't pinpoint who was actually trying to shoot at me. But off rip, it was very off-putting, I must say. Also, because we're on budget, the A10 sadly don't have the Dolby Atmos support that the A50Xs do. But again, for the price, I wouldn't expect it. Pairing this headset with Windows Sonic made it a million times better, and if you're going to be playing on PC whilst using this headset, you have to use it, otherwise you are just at such a disadvantage. So for £350, you're expecting a massive upgrade, right? Well, without Dolby Atmos settings being absolutely perfect, probably not that much better. Without Dolby Atmos settings on, this headset is just a little bit mid. It's not terrible, but when you realize you're paying £350 for it and it's one of the most expensive gaming headsets on the market, I just can't justify that. So for example, if you have one primary use, which is that you only play games, Dolby Atmos settings are fine. There's a lot of presets. You've got game, music, movie. So if you want to listen to music in the morning, play games through the day, maybe watch a film with your friends on Discord at night, there's not going to be one EQ setting that's going to be perfect for all of those. And the same applies to different games. So originally I tested the game setting on Warzone and it sounded a little bit crap. If anything, I'd even go as far as to say it was worse than the A10s. Opened up CS and this thing was a game changer. Genuinely, I could hear where everybody was. Footsteps from distance were elevated so much and I could pinpoint exactly where they were. The same applies to gunshots. Gunshots that were way too far away were like drowned out and sounded really muddy in the best way possible. So the 3D audio on this thing is genuinely probably some of the best I've ever used. But when you've got to spend hours and hours in Dolby Atmos trying to find some perfect settings that works for everything, sadly that is just audio all around. I'm sure there's headsets out there that cost thousands of pounds or something that are probably perfect for everything, but this just isn't it. But I am going to be a lifesaver and put my settings up on screen that I spent around 2 hours trying to figure out. It's not perfect for everything, but it definitely works across the board. It was good with different genres of music, it made YouTube videos sound nice, nothing sounded too muddy, it was a little bit of a balanced mix, but it sounded great. And I really did enjoy using my headset a lot more once I found these settings out, because up until that point, I was just ready to bin it off. But if you have a lot more patience than I do, feel free, flip between the presets every single time you switch task, but I'm just not willing to do that. All in all, both of these headsets absolutely shined on Warzone, and that's a game historically known for being terrible for hearing footstep sounds and being overpowered by loud jets going off in the sky and weird things like that. They both seem to be just fine for CS. Obviously the A50X shines a little bit more, but you should expect that with the price range and the massive increase in 3D audio. Not to mention it obviously just has overall louder and higher quality sound, so it's just night and day difference between these two when it comes to overall quality. So if you're looking to buy a new headset, definitely don't rule Astro out of the mix, especially in this day and age where people are raving about SteelSeries' Arctis headsets. £350 makes this headset one of the most expensive ones on the market, when its parent company Logitech actually makes its competition for £100 cheaper, with their Logitech Pro X2 light speeds, which are worth £249. But I've not used that yet. I've heard nothing but good things about that Logitech headset, so I'm sure it is great. For an extra £100 though, I'm not sure what features the Astro bring, but the Logitech one probably doesn't offer. So is this A50X headset the best value for your money? Probably not. However, the A10s, these give me everything I know and love about Astro: a beautiful look, feel, comfort. My one pet peeve is literally just that the ear cups are too small. If they wasn't the case, it would be the perfect budget headset. I think there's something in both of these headsets regarding what type of gamer you are. If you're a casual gamer, these A10s are absolutely perfect, and I would recommend them to anyone. If you're a content creator that wants to venture out but not really invest in an audio setup, then these are probably pretty good, especially if you're still playing on console. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, you can actually get both of these headsets for 10% cheaper with the code UKIC10 using the link in the description of this video, which makes ignoring these as part of your decision-making process when buying a headset just a little bit sillier, because you can get them for 10% off thanks to us. Oh, and subscribe to stick around for when we inevitably review both of the Logitech headsets.